Hey everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to write code to send a new message. After this use effect for loading the messages, I'm going to create a new function here. Const send message. Inside this, we're going to receive the message. And from this function, we are going to emit an event from the socket. So if socket.current socket.current.emit, we are going to emit an event send new message. And for the data, first of all, we are going to send in the logged in user's ID. So user ID, user._ID. And then we are going to send the ID of the user. We are going to send the message to. So message send to user ID. It is going to be open chat ID dot current. So again, this open chat ID dot current is basically this value right here, the ID of the user we want to message. And after this, we're going to send in the message. So ES6 syntax here and save. And now we are going to pass this function to the message input field as a prop. So inside the message input field, I'm going to remove these props. We're not going to need this. So send message. And now we're going to receive this inside this message input field. So send message, make sure the spellings are correct. And now on this onSubmit, call in the function and pass in the text. So now let's listen for this event on our server.js. We are sending these properties alongside this event. So socket.on, create a function here. And inside this, we're going to destructure out the properties, user ID, message send to user ID, and the message. So now inside this event, we are going to call a function which we are going to create. So now inside our message actions file, in our util server, we are going to create a new function here. Send message. We are going to pass in the user ID inside this. Message send to user ID. And also we're going to pass in the message. And inside this function, we are going to have a try catch block. And if there is any error, just log the error again and return error. And now inside the try block, first of all, we're going to look for the sender, logged in user. So I'm going to add a comment here. Log in user. Const user await chat model.find one. User with this user ID, which we are sending inside the params. And now we're going to look for the receiver. Const message send to user await chat model.find one. User with this message sent to user ID. And now we're going to create a new message object. So const new message. So this new message, if I go to the chat model, this is going to be this object right here with the properties message, sender, receiver, and date. So inside this, we're going to have a sender. It is going to be user ID. The receiver is going to be message sent to user ID. And then we are going to have a message. So ES6 syntax, we are passing in the message inside the parameters. And after this, we are going to have a date. So it is going to be date.now. So this is a new message object which we are going to push inside the messages array. But before that, we are going to check if we have an actual chat with the user. So const previous chat user.chats.find chat and chat.messages with .toString is equals to message sent to user ID. So here I added messages with .toString because we are not populating the data. In this function, we were adding ._ID because we were populating the data of the messages with. So if we have a previous chat with the user we are sending message to, if previous chat dot messages dot push new message, and then we're going to save the user, await user dot save. So previous chat, if we go to the chat model, we are looking inside this chats array for an object whose message is with is equals to the ID of this message sent to user ID. If previous chat, that means it will give us this object right here. It has a messages array. We are pushing that new message object inside this messages array. So previous chat dot messages dot push, we have created this new message here, and then we are saving the logged in user. Else, if there is no chat, I'm going to add a comment here to reformat it. So if there is no previous chat, we are going to create a new one. So const new chat. Inside this, we are going to have a messages with property. So now we are going to create this whole object right here, messages with and messages array. Earlier, we only created this object right here. So messages with is going to be message sent to user ID. And then we are going to have a messages array. And inside this, we are going to pass in the new message. And after this, we are going to add it inside the chats of the user. So user.chats.unshift. So I'm using unshift here because it adds elements to the start of the array, new chat. And then we're going to save the user. So all of this what we did here is only for the sender. We only checked inside the chats of the sender. So now we are going to repeat the same process for the receiver. So I'm just going to copy this. And we're going to change some values here. If you want, you can create a function, but I'm just going to copy and paste so that you can understand better what we're doing here. But if you create a function, you can just change the values inside the parameters and call that function 2 times. So now I'm going to rename this to previous chat for receiver. So if the user whom we are sending message has a chat with us previously or not. So message sent to user dot chats dot find chats dot messages with dot toString is equals to user ID. So if previous chat for receiver dot messages dot push new message, and we're going to save the message sent to user dot save, else new chat messages with is going to be user ID, and we're going to shift it inside the message sent to user dot chats dot unshift, and then we're going to save, and from this function we're going to return new message. So now we are going to export this function, send message, and let's import this. So on this event, send new message, we are going to call this function await send message. Inside this, we are going to pass in the user ID, message sent to user ID, and also the message, and we are returning an error or the new message object. If no error, we are going to emit an event from here. So socket.emit message sent. So this will basically be a confirmation that message is sent, and we're going to send back the new message. So now we're going to listen for this event on our client. So now here I'm going to create a new use effect. This one is also going to be on mount. So if you want, you can write the code which we are going to write inside this use effect right here. This one is also for mount, but I'm going to divide these use effects. So this one is for the connection. So I'm going to make some comments here. Connection use effect. So minimize this. And this one is for loading the messages. So load messages use effect. And this one is going to be for confirming that a message is sent and receiving the messages. So inside this use effect, we are going to listen for the event message sent. So socket, let's make a if check here. If socket.current on message sent. Inside this, we are passing in the new message. So inside a function, make sure the spellings are correct. So inside this function, we are going to check if new message dot receiver is equals to open chat id dot current. We are going to call the set messages function previous, and we're going to spread the previous and pass in the new message. So what we are doing is listening for the event message sent. We are receiving the new message inside the data. So if new message dot receiver, so if you remember when we created this function, we add this receiver property, it is message sent to user ID. So for the message sent to user ID is basically this open chat id.current. We are checking if new message.receiver is open chat ID is equals to open chat id.current. So this check basically means that the user with to whom you send the message, we have that chat opened. So we do not want to add the messages to another chat. So now if I go back and it has been refreshed, if I send in the message to Inder, and send, and now you can see the message is sent from here. And if I refresh this, and here you can see the message is there. So right now we have not written code to show the new messages automatically. We are going to write that in the next video. So for now, from our backend, a message is sent to this user right here in the, and we have received it. And here you can see the text input field is not set to back to its original value. So we are going to change that inside this message input field. After we have called the send message function, set text to empty strings, and let it refresh. So now if I send in a new message, the message is sent, the text input field is empty, and if I go back and refresh this, the message is there. Also, after this set messages function, what we are going to do is when a new message is received here, it should appear inside this chat list too. So the most recent message should appear here. Right now we have the most recent message, how are you, but is not being shown here. So for that, we are going to call the set chats function. Inside this, we are going to have the previous, and we are going to add curly brackets here. So we are going to first of all find that previous chat. So const previous chat, previous dot find chat, and chat dot messages with is equals to new message dot receiver. So this will find us the previous chat. Now what we are going to do is previous chat dot last message. So if you remember, inside the chats we have the property last message. It is going to be new message dot msg. This new message right here, it has a msg property. And after this, we are going to change the date. So previous chat dot date is equals to new message dot date. And we're going to return an array spread the previous. So this will update the message, the latest message inside the chat list column. So if it refreshes, so again, if I send in a message, new message, let's send WhatsApp and send. And now you can see, keep an eye on here. And now you can see the most recent message is added to this column right here. So now in the next video, we're going to write code for receiving the message. So the user doesn't have to refresh the page to check if there are new messages. It is going to display automatically if there is a new message. So I will see you there.